Hi, my name is Mark Matlock. Today, we want to talk about living up to your parents' expectations. Do you ever feel like you don't know what your parents want from you, but you know they want something? Try as you might, it just seems like you never quite hit the mark. Or maybe you know all too well what your parents want from you. It's just a goal that either you don't want to achieve or just seems too difficult to accomplish in your life. Today, we want to talk about living up to your parents' expectations. So let's start with the question. What do your parents want from you?
My parents, they want me to be this person that they have in their mind to be.
They try to live your life.
I'm about average, but then I have a lot of friends who are doing better, and then they're just kind of well, why aren't you up to par with them?
Your sister can do this, how come you can't do it?
Why don't you have 100 in the class?
We're so disappointed in you, you're better than that.
They just assume that I'm just half-heartedly doing everything.
They always tell me that I'm gonna grow up and make millions of dollars so I can take care of them in their old age.
One of the main expectations my parents have of me is to be that perfect role model for my younger siblings.
My sister is the youngest. When your parents want you to do something for her and she treats you not very well at all, you're like, why do all this for you?
I have 3 brothers, so competition is crazy at my house.
It's hard to be at school with your siblings because of competition.
Growing up, I've had a dad that's kind of pushed me in sports. My dad was actually in the '96 Olympics as a pole vaulter. Golf, 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 and more golf. So ever since I was about 5 years old, I've been playing. My parents have invested just massive amounts of time and money, mostly money, and just my dad taking off of work to travel with me to go to golf tournaments all across the United States. My dad viewed it more of as investment towards college scholarships and stuff like that. He wanted me to have something to do with golf. He was saying that I had to focus 100% on golf. I'm like, this is not humanly possible. I cannot do it. I could sit home all day long. My mom wouldn't say anything, but if my dad got home, he'd send me straight to the course. I feel overwhelmed all the time. I'm waking up at 4:45 to go to the gym, getting to school by 7:45, then football practice till 5, then golf till night. So it's difficult. It got to the point where I wasn't allowed to have any communication with any of my friends for about 2 weeks before state. He wanted that type of focus on golf. I was practicing about 9 hours a day. I didn't think that was reasonable at all. It was the most pointless thing I've ever done in my entire life because I didn't accomplish anything at all. I walked in there with the same amount of experience, same amount of knowledge. This year playing golf, I came second in state, and I felt like a failure just because I've been taught my whole life to be number one. I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, I came in second. And he just turned around and said, all right, you know what you need to do better next year, go ahead. There are times when I want to leave the house. I can't stand him anymore. Just some of the things that he puts upon me, some of the expectations seem almost impossible.
Golf, golf, golf. Drew definitely has a situation with his father that he needs to take care of quickly. You know, when you're in Drew's situation, there's only one way to deal with it. That's communication. You've got to be open with your parents about how you feel. Sometimes expectations just aren't clear. You need to ask, what is it that you're really looking for me? So our parents have a chance to clarify what their expectations are. Sometimes they think they've done a good job explaining it, and they just haven't. But in Drew's situation, where we're having deep feelings about things that our parents are passionate about, it can sometimes be difficult to open up and share how we honestly feel. It can be frightening, scary to think about talking to our parents about such things. But we need to realize that for the most part, parents really are trying to help. Sometimes they think that they're doing the right thing and being helpful, they've just gotten a little off track or misguided. And open communication can help take care of that pretty quickly, but sometimes painfully as well. Dealing with expectations parents have can be one issue we have to deal with. Another has to do with family responsibilities. What are some of the responsibilities that you have in your home?
My life has always been very complicated. There's always been responsibilities that I've had and expectations that I've had to live up to at a really young age. I live on a ranch. I have 25 acres, and I have to keep up all the fences on the sides of the property, and I have to feed all the horses and clean everything up and, you know, make sure everything's running. I'm pretty much in charge of it. My dad just pays for everything. I had to start working with my hands at a really young age. I just had to develop a skill of endurance, I guess you could say, just as being able to work in 110-degree heat. My dad, he had always fed the horses. I would always go out and help him. And one night he just said, "Okay, you ready to go feed?" I said, "Sure, let's go." He goes, "No, you're gonna go." And at that point I was like 10 years old, so I was kind of afraid to go outside in the dark by myself at night. Most of my friends don't have as much responsibility as I do. They're not depended on as much as I am. I'll get invited to a lot of, you know, let's go to the movies, let's do this, let's do this. And I was like, well, I gotta work. There's been times when I got upset about it, you know, there's not a whole lot really complicated about what I have to do. It's just a lot of work. There's a lot to do. I have a lot of trouble keeping my grades up. I mean, I'll barely pass just because I feel like, you know, I'm overwhelmed with things to do. One of my biggest things is not as much meeting his expectations of working as much as working on schoolwork is his biggest thing with me. You know, because he says to me, you know, you don't keep your grades up, you don't keep your job. My dad really wants me to, he wants me to be successful. He believes in me. He knows I can do it if I really try. And a lot of times I just get tired and don't try. I wish that, you know, I could have more of a normal life, not as much expected of me. I guess just easier in a lot of ways. Life could be easier.
Justin has a lot of priorities he's trying to keep at the top of the list, and eventually things are going to start falling apart. I feel for Justin. It's hard to keep everything at the top of the list all of the time. Eventually, you just can't keep going on. We come back to this principle of communicating with our parents. Justin needs to invite his dad into his world so his dad can understand the challenges and the time constraints that he has on his life. My guess is that Justin showed his dad, look, I'm trying to keep my social life, my chores, and my homework at the top of the list. His dad may have some great ideas into how they could adjust his schedule to make things more easy for Justin to accomplish. Inviting your parents into the world, very, very important. Sometimes they just don't understand how much time it takes to get everything done. And if they have a little insight, they can really be of help. Let's recap some of the things that we've talked about today. First, we talked about communication and how it is important that we be honest in our communication with our parents. If we don't understand something that they want from us, we need to ask them to be more clear about what it is that they expect from us. If we have feelings about the pressure that they're putting on us, we need to be open and vulnerable and honest and humbly share those concerns and those feelings with them so that they can understand. And also, we need to invite our parents into our world, asking them to help us when we feel like we have too many responsibilities being placed on us. Sometimes our parents can be our best help in times of need, even when they're the ones putting the heat on. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today. We'll see you next time.